no wonder. Chris, wake up. Look what you're sitting on.
What am I sitting on?
Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this episode of...
Weekend at Bernie's?
No, what's the name of our show?
Oh, Heavenly the 80s.
The Heavenly 80s.
It's called Heavenly the 80s.
Heavenly the 80s works fine too. Watch out the mic there.
Oh.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You are?
I'm Christopher.
And I am your dad, Fonzo. And it's episode 3. We've now made it to 3 episodes of the Heavenly 80s. Everybody is talking about it.
And we got 21 subscribers.
I think it's fair to say we're the most popular new show on all of YouTube.
Yeah, we're like popular than like PewDiePie.
For sure.
Yeah.
Or that Mr. Beast guy with the fake videos who gives away the money.
No, it's real!
Anyhow, thank you for supporting us. How do they continue to support us?
Subscribe. Oh, subscribe this video! Leave a like! Do a notification.
That's right. Ring the bell, the notification bell.
And give us ideas.
Yeah, please leave us comments.
In comments.
Comments were off, now they're on. Leave us some suggestions for movies that we should take on here.
Even one of ideas, maybe.
We'll never run out of ideas. Look at all the great movies we have behind us. We've got many more. I just ordered a bunch. I'm the only person still buying VHS tapes. But that's the way to watch 80s movies. It's got to be on VHS. Luckily, there's no shortage of VCRs in this house. So that's the way to watch them. We've been watching more and more movies the last few days. So we've got a lot of fun ideas for the Heavenly 80s, which is where we tackle the hard questions about our favorite 80s movies. And today we're talking about Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2. And then, a special surprise, we're going to talk about my idea for a Weekend at Bernie's 3. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that afterwards. But first, there's a lot to talk about these movies. These movies were not critically acclaimed. They are incredibly silly, goofy movies, right? I think they came out in 1989, and then the sequel, Weekend at Bernie's, actually a 90s movie, came out in 1993. So let's try to concentrate on the 80s movie, which is Weekend at Bernie's. Stars Jonathan Silverman. This guy's name is Terry Kaiser. And Andrew McCarthy. Andrew McCarthy was big in the 80s movies. We saw him in... What movies did we see him in? Do you know?
I don't know.
Mannequin. Remember Mannequin? We got to do a Mannequin episode. We don't have Mannequin back here. We got to find it. And another movie. Where is it? Do we have it up here? No, we don't. Pretty in Pink. Remember Pretty in Pink?
Oh, no.
He was the boyfriend, the rich guy in Pretty in Pink.
Why my mustache keep coming off?
In case you haven't seen it, it's about 2 guys who get caught up in this crazy scandal with their boss, who was stealing money for the mob from his job. They inadvertently find it out, so Bernie tries to get them killed, invites them to come to his house in the Hamptons, a beach house, and he's going to kill them there. Instead, he ends up getting killed. And then the whole movie is Larry and Richard, that's their characters, dragging around Bernie's dead body all over this island for an hour and a half. Hilarity ensues. It's actually really funny. There's some really great comedy in Weekend at Bernie's 1. Less so Weekend at Bernie's 2. Weekend at Bernie's 2 is extra silly.
Extra silly.
Yeah, so tell them about what happens in Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Well, let me read this for you. It says... Bernie Lomax would be the perfect host, except for one small thing. He's dead.
He is dead, yes. And he is also dead at the beginning of Weekend at Bernie's 2. But what happens?
Oh, he can dance.
He can dance. They put some kind of... the Mobu, remember the Mobu?
Like
put some kind of a voodoo curse on him, and it reanimates him only when there's music. and this was some kind of scheme to have Bernie lead them to where he hid his fortune. So they somehow managed to get a second movie out of a guy who's been dead now since the first movie came out 4 years earlier. Not as good, but there's some decent comedy in here.
And this one says Bernie's back, and he's still dead.
Still dead, and he's still dead in Weekend at Bernie's 3, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But let's talk about Weekend at Bernie's 1 and 2 and the logistics of this, right? Because
How
it's
do people know that he's not dead?
Yeah. Well, here's the biggest thing about him being dead. So they set up in the beginning of Weekend at Bernie's 1 that it's the summertime. Remember, Larry and Richard are on the roof of a building because they can't get to the beach. So they're playing in like a little kiddie pool, and they're talking about how hot it is. So we know it's summer. We know it's a really hot summer. They go out to the Hamptons to his beach house. Everybody's in bikinis and swimsuits. So we've established now that it's really hot, right?
Yeah.
And now he's dead. And a long time passes. I think it's it goes at least overnight into the next day, right? And yeah, so I even looked it up carefully because I worry about searching these kind of things. But how long does it take a body to decompose, right? And basically they say after several hours, certainly by like 12 hours, a lot of it depends on the temperature and the heat. It's going to start to stink if you're pulling a dead body around on the beach.
Like dog poop, bro.
No, worse than that. It smells like a decomposing body.
It smells like a garbage full of dog poop.
Worse than a garbage full of dog poop. Like a dead body.
Oh.
There's about nothing worse than that. And yet that's never, I guess nobody catches on that this thing is really, and they don't really talk about it stinking much either. He doesn't lose his color. And the other thing that we see a lot is that he gets hurt a lot. They throw him over things. He in Weekend at Bernie's 2, they throw him out the window of a hospital and he lands on the ground.
That's what Weekend at Bernie's 2.
Yeah. He should have, his head should have exploded. He gets an arrow through the head, remember?
And then no blood everywhere.
No blood?
No, not even one single drop.
Yes. So,
that's what you're talking about.
Here's the thing about Weekend at Bernie's 2 that I wondered about, and maybe this is how because now Weekend at Bernie's 2, now he's been in the morgue for a few days, right? And they kidnap him from the morgue. They fly him out to somewhere in the Caribbean in a suitcase. Again, nobody's complaining about how bad this smells. Again, we're in the heat. Again, they drag him all over an island for days and days and days.
People lost their smell or something.
Yeah, what's going on? Nobody has a sense of smell here. But here's the thing. In Weekend at Bernie's 2, this is what I don't know. When they put the spell on him and they reanimate him, is he actually alive again? Or is it just like some kind of magic that makes his body move? Or his organs functioning? Is his heart beating again? Is his brain functioning? And if that happens, maybe that kind of reverses the decomposing process, the rigor mortis, and it kind of keeps him fresh, at least every time music plays. And then when there's no music, he dies again, and then he comes back to life, and he dies again. So maybe that puts off the decomposition process?
I don't know. I don't know if he's dead or alive.
There's nothing you pointed out about his clothes. Sorry about that. A technical difficulty. Our camera died.
Oh.
And we did the Mobu's curse on it, and now it's back to life. We're going to have some music playing in the back.
Rest in peace.
Okay, what were you saying about Bernie's
his
clothes?
Clothes? He Weekend at Bernie's 1. He wear the same clothes in 3 days. Is that a little bit suspicious?
You would think so. The guy has a lot of money. He has a nice home, and nobody thinks
and
it's
he's
suspicious.
really fancy.
Yeah.
A really fancy would change if a really fancy guy would change his clothes every single day.
Yeah.
But a fancy guy, but he didn't change his clothes.
There's also, again, this is Weekend at Bernie's 2 moment. Remember when they go to the bank and he's got to sign off on the papers, and he wears the big trench coat, and then I think it's Larry puts his arm through the coat and signs.
Larry's caught.
Huh? Well, not just that. Larry's left arm is appearing as Bernie's right arm, so the thumb is in the wrong spot, and the banker doesn't notice this and just lets them sign off on this. It was to to get the safety deposit box. So
Yeah.
lots of logistical problems with Weekend Bernie's 1 and 2.
You gotta think about it first.
That's right. But
You
that's
gotta
why
think about it.
I'm here to save the day and save the franchise with Weekend at Bernie's 3. Yes, it's been 30 years, so you may ask, how can you bring back this franchise if he started to stink?
Come on, Phil, you wrote a whole
I
script,
wrote a lot. No,
bro.
not quite. I think this is what you'd call a treatment. So it's not a whole script, but I might actually take this on.
Well, by the way, he's a newspaper guy, so he knows like all the stuff.
I'm a newspaper guy. Yes.
Oh my gosh, Dad!
That's a lot, right? I did this morning.
I don't have time for the video.
Well, I'll try to keep it short. We're gonna get
It's like a Harry Potter book, bro.
We're gonna get the short version. Okay, so obviously, if he, we're talking about how he would stink after being dead a couple days. 30 years, there'd be nothing left of Bernie, right? He'd just be like a skeleton. That wouldn't make for a very good movie. But here's what I came up with, right? So we start, the movie opens, and we see who appears to be Bernie, right? Looks older. He looks 30 years older. He's an older man now. Still has the mustache. Maybe the mustache is gray. He's still got the silly red circular glasses that we couldn't find, so we had to use these instead. And he is laying, right, by a pool in a wheelchair, right? And you get the close-up, and it's like, what? Is that Bernie? It's been 30 years. How could Bernie be there? But then we see somebody come up and kind of roust him awake, and he wakes up. And they say, wake up, Ernie. It's not Bernie. It's Ernie, who is Bernie's identical twin brother.
Whoa!
Yeah. So here's the situation. When Bernie died, his house and all his money, there wasn't that much of it because I guess it was all taken away, or at least you don't think there was that much of it, goes to his brother, his identical twin brother, Ernie. Now, Ernie looks just like Bernie, but he's really not like him at all. You know, Bernie was greedy and kind of nasty, and he was mixed up with bad people and crime. Ernie's a good man, and he gave away most of the money that he earned, that he inherited from Bernie, to poor people, to charity, and he is living in the house, but he's using the house as kind of a community center for poor kids, right? And like sort of underprivileged kids living out in eastern Long Island, right? In the Hamptons. And so this house, which used to be like the party house in the Hamptons, is now kind of like this community
Like a
center.
church?
No, it's not a church, but kids go there for camp, and they throw parties for these kids who don't have a lot, and it's just like a nice part of the community there, right? But Ernie has a son. This is Bernie's nephew, and his name is Bernard. He was named after Bernie, and Bernard is a lot like his uncle Bernie. He's greedy. He is crooked. He's involved with bad people. And what he wants to do is sell this house off to this drug dealer. He's like a drug kingpin, another gangster, kind of like the people that Bernie used to run with, and just get some money because he never got any money because his dad gave away all of his uncle's money. So that's where we start, right? And part of why this is also kind of messed up is because Bernie never left a will, or did he? So somebody finds a letter, right? And the letter comes with a will. And it turns out that Bernie did leave a will. And the letter indicates that you can't open the will until everybody's on the island who's going to get
What's a
something.
will?
A will is when you die. Remember we saw Knives Out? Remember Knives Out?
Oh, yeah?
Great movie, right?
Oh, well,
Remember? And it was like, who's going to get the money and all that because the guy died? So it's the same thing. It's like when somebody dies, you leave like a piece of paper and it says, I want my money to go to this guy, I want my house to go to this guy, I want my car to go to this guy. So that's a will, right? So they find the secret will, and there's going to be a reading of the will where everybody finds out what they got. And remember Tawny, who was in Weekend at Bernie's 1? She was the girl in the bikini who was running all over the place.
Yeah.
She was a big part of the movie. So she's still there. She's still partying over there, but she's an older woman now, and she kind of takes care of the house, and she helps with a lot of the kids who are there, and she's the one who who got the letter, but the letter was lost. So now she sees the letter, And she kind of remembers, oh, that's right. Bernie told me about this will that he put together just before he died that weekend because he knew, he had a feeling that he was going to be dead soon because he was messing around with that gangster's wife and he was, he was involved with a lot of crime. He knew his days were numbered, so he wanted to take care of the people around him. And what she remembered was him saying that his brother would get the money, the house would go to the kids. She assumed that means his brother's kids, and she also remembered that he wanted to leave something to Larry and Richard. Now, why would he want to leave anything for Larry and Richard? So again, this was like the last days before he died, because secretly he kind of appreciated Larry and Richard. Larry and Richard were trying to do right by the company. They were two hardworking kids. They discovered this impropriety going on with the money, and he felt bad that he had to kill them, but he had to have them killed. And he figured, at the very least, I could take care of their families. So if they're dead, their families will get something, right? So anyway, we catch up with Larry and Richard. They're older now. Neither one of them really has a home. Richard's been divorced a bunch of times. Now he's back in his parents' house. Larry's still kind of a playboy, dates a lot of women, went through all the money that he got at the end of Weekend at Bernie's 2, but neither one of them are really doing well. They haven't seen each other in like 25 years. They're reunited back on the island. We find out that the nephew, Bernard, is made a secret deal with these gangsters, right, to sell the house. But he tells his father that I won't sell the house. I'll let you keep the house if you give me everything that you're going to get in the will. So they agree on that. And Tawny overhears this deal going on. Anyway, Richard and Larry show up on the island. They reunite with Tawny and some other people who we saw in Weekend at Bernie's 1. Shortly after that, Ernie dies. Naturally. He was sick, he was older, he just like has a heart attack, and he dies. But now Tawny is freaking out because she realizes that if Ernie is dead, then Bernard gets everything. He'll get the house, and he'll get all the money. So he can't know that Ernie is dead. And so they need to hide this until they can prove that he is mixed up in some crime. That'll get him disqualified from the will, so he won't get anything. And they've got to do all this before the executor of the will comes. So there's a lawyer who comes to the island and he's going to read the will. They've got to do all this before that. And if Bernard finds out that Ernie is dead, that's really bad, right? Because now he gets everything. So luckily, you've got two guys there who are experienced in how to hide a fact that somebody is dead. So they're at it again. Larry and Richard are on the run. They take Ernie in the wheelchair all over the island. They get into all kinds of crazy hijinks with him. And in the process, Richard maybe develops some kind of romance with Tawny, who he hasn't seen in a long time. And he appreciates not just Tawny, but the importance of this house to the community, and that there are things that are more important than money. There is like this sense of home, and he sees that the late Ernie and her have created a real home for these kids on this island, and he really kind of appreciates it. Larry does too, and they get into all kinds of hijinks. You could do kind of more modern stuff. You could have like some college kids who are partying in the Hamptons, taking selfies with dead Ernie, and there's pictures all over Instagram of Ernie and it's trending, and there's hashtags. You could have a lot of fun stuff with dead Ernie. And then at the end, there's the big confrontation, with the bad guys. And I won't spoil everything here, but I have an idea of how this all ends. Anyway, the bad guys get caught, and then they finally read the will, right? And even though the bad guys are caught, they're going to lose the house because they already signed the deal with the bad guys. Bernard's not going to get the house, but the bad guys will get the house, the drug dealers, the gangsters, because that's all signed already. So they finally read the will. there isn't a lot of money. The money that is going to go to Ernie is all going to go to charity because that's what he wants, and they think they've lost the house. But remember that Tawny said that the house would go to the kids, and now that Bernard's going to jail, he's not going to get the house, and there were no other kids. But it turns out that the kids weren't Ernie's kids. It was Larry and Richard. That's what they were going to get in the will, the house. Because Bernie remembered that these two kids really were excited about coming over to the house. They didn't have a whole lot, and he thought, well, I'll give them the house. They'll be dead, then they'll go to their parents, and they could sell it, and they can make some money. So, at the end, Richard and Larry have inherited the house. And it's all up to them, and they decide that they're going to continue, they're going to keep it as kind of community center for all the poor kids. And what's more, since neither one of them really has a home or a place to stay, and because they realize after 30 years that the most fun that they've ever had is with each other, Larry and Richard, they decide they're all moving into the house. And so we get Richard and Tawny living together, they're in love, they're in the house. Larry's surrounded by beautiful women again, which is what always made him happy. And Larry and Richard have each other, and they have this great house that is helping so many children and giving everybody a sense of a home. And at the end of the day, that's what Weekend Bernie's was all about a great house and a wonderful home. The end. What do you think?
I don't know what to say. That's a perfect idea!
Right?
A perfect idea!
Now I just gotta write the whole thing and we gotta, I don't know, pitch it to somebody. I don't know how this works. I don't know if anybody knows.
Okay,
folks.
can I, subscribe this video! Leave a like. Hit that notification. And the bell! And please give us ideas in the comments. And, see you later.
That's it. We'll be back next time on Heavenly the 80s!